Yo, boom blast, what going people? You don't know. Alright, so yo, check this. See, I want to talk to you about being able to predict price. As a matter of fact, I don't want to say predict price, right? Because that sound too, you see me? But being able to anticipate where price is going. Being able to anticipate where price is going is a very, very advanced skill. Um, it is more advanced than market structure, but you need to know market structure in order to pull it off, right? So this is what I mean by being able to properly anticipate price. Um, I don't know if it happened to you, but it happened to me in the past, and it probably happened to everybody who just started trading, right? You join somebody Discord or you're following somebody on Twitter or YouTube, and them do a market analysis and them say, yo, I'm gonna tell you right now, Bitcoin is never, ever, ever going up to whatever value they call out, 1,000, 10,000, 10 million, whatever, right? Or another guy say, yo, Bitcoin is going to hell. It's an unstable currency. It's not real. The government is gonna kill it, right? Them come with all kind of if and but story. And we like some big claffy, some big idiot go ahead and believe one of them, right? And one person end up making a bag of money and the other person end up losing them shirt. And more times, most of the time, is me or you end up a lose with shirt, right? So, um, being able to know, like being able to read the map and say, all right, the map look like X, that means Y is going to happen, right? That is a skill that comes with a whole heap of practice, whole heap of dedication. But I promise you, once you don't even have to master it, once you just start to put the pieces together and it start click for you, you'll realize that you'll make more money because certain trades, you know that, all right, yes, the zone is there, but nah, I'll wait till something else happen before I jump in the trade. So I'm going to give you a quick example of narrative. So there's multiple narratives that the map, I call it the map, can show us to tell us whether or not a high is going to get broken or a low is going to get broken, right? A high is going to get broken or a low is going to get broken, right? There are multiple stories on the map, right? No, I don't expect you to learn all of the stories, right? I don't expect you to learn all of the stories, but at the same time, if you know one or two stories, one or two narratives that you can look throughout the map and pick up, then you just work that till it dead. Just keep working it, and you'll eat a food. You don't have to know everything right away. So let me give you a couple narratives. You have this narrative. The simple narrative is, you know, price. Let's say price they make a high and price make a low, and price fail to make this new high. Then this low going to get killed. Or you have this high here and this low put in a new high, and price come down here and the high fails to put in a new low, right? Then if this high failed to put in a new low, then chances are people think that price going to go up here, but price usually come up here and stall and then come down. That's a part of narrative. You have narrative that I showed you earlier in the previous video about when you have a higher time frame, higher low that get run, you have some sort of ranging going on, right? And this is where you scalp up and down. I have videos showing this. When you finish watch this video, if you want to get some more detail in this, then you can check that video out. All right. So this is just a small amount of narrative that price we can use and predict certain things, right? You have equal, then you have this other narrative where you can, like, for example, sometimes I tell people like, yo, when this high up here and you have this high here, this high here, this low here, when, because just because this high is higher than this high, then often anticipate that this inside going to get lick, and then later on this top part going to get clip out, right? So it's just things that you see that's painting a picture, right? All right, so let me give you another example, and it's right here on the map. I'm gonna show you how everything tied together. All right, so now before I begin, you have to use this with structure, right? What do I mean? Structure is the same, higher, higher, and higher. And I know this getting advanced, but the people in the Patreon, them have it locked. Don't get intimidated. Anyway, let me shut up and drop the game. All right, so you have this, right? 4 to 6 swings, right? You have this, and then after you see this, you'll have some sort of narrative happening up here, right? Now, let's say you didn't see this, and you see the narrative. You're not going to be able to know if the narrative is going to send you lower or higher, because this you don't have. You need this as your compass, right? So just keep that in mind. All right, so anyway, here's a piece of narrative here. You have this right here, right? This is called multiple mitigations. So we're looking at this structure here. We have a zone here, right? And automatically people think that, oh, just because you have a zone here, like let's say this is the zone. This is also a zone too, but let's just say this is the zone. People assume that, oh, this is market structure. Market structure happen here. So let me just run this and drop this down. Let me just, as soon as it come here, let me just sell all the way down here, right? No, yes, you did get a reaction to sell down where you probably would have make a whole heap of money. But if you did know what this represented, or if you knew what this represented, you wouldn't be holding the short all the way down to run this low. You'd be even happy, even if it come down here, you'd be happy and be like, yo, thank God it came here, because this is a very risky trade, right? Some people who know narrative not even going to pay attention to this, thinking that your price going to go all the way down. And then you have some people who don't know better, don't know any structure, seeing this and be like, yo, price is going to go all the way to the top because it's going to the top already, so let me just jump on the train. And them don't know what's going on, and them win out here because them go them bed and leave the trade on or whatever, and them wake up and them see the thing up the high, and them think that them a genius and thing. And it's only because they were on the right side of narrative by guessing. So anyway, let's begin. So you have this zone, right? And this is, by the way, this is Dave Teaches concepts. I did not make up these concepts. These concepts, I learned them from a guy called Dave Teaches. Make sure you check him out. All right, so yo, look. It run this. It pop the zone here, so right? Bam. Run this. It come and it hit the zone here. Right? Then now it break the low. Well, this is not even a part of structure. But, and that's another form of narrative. But let's just for the meantime, focus on this. So you have, and some people say, oh, equalize or whatever, right? Then it come down, and some people think it going to come down all the way and then hit the zone again, right? And then some people, it go up here and it hit the middle of the zone, 50%, and it go down, right? So this is called weakening the zone. The zone is getting weakened here. So if you see this occurring, and then you see this thing hit the 50% of the zone and come down, what this is telling you that this zone is getting weaker and weaker every time price trades up in it, till eventually this high is going to get taken, which is here. See, it eventually trade up to it, And then it just run where left it. Gone high, high, high up in the sky, sky, sky. Watch it. Right? And you can see this all around the map. If we can go, I can go inside here and I can show you multiple examples of this situation forming out. Also, if you pay attention to what I show you, this is the same thing that happened in one of the videos where I talk about scalping. Where I talk about when you have a run off a high or a low that's on a higher time frame, you end up with a range. What is a range? Price not able to break the high or the low, right? Also, if you were paying attention, you can combine the narratives. You'll see that this low is here, right? But when price trade up could not give you a new high, neither did it give you a new low. So you say, all right, well, price not giving me any lows, right? And then this zone here is getting mitigated. That means narrative, you have more narrative telling you that price is going to run this high versus you have this narrative that say, oh man, this low didn't put in a new high, so I'm assuming that this low getting run. No. You have more narrative telling you one thing than, so you can weigh the options once you start to learn more narratives. So you see where you in a range here, and then it trade up, right? Dead giveaway. There no lows were taken. All right, so yo, check this. I'm gonna show you that this thing happens all over the map, and this is just one piece of narrative you can use. All right, so yo, look. Let me zoom in. Right? Look at this zone right here. Same thing happened to this zone right here. You have this low, this high, and then you have this low, this high, and you have this low. Right? So you know you have this zone here. Doesn't this look familiar? This look very familiar to this big boy up top now. Very familiar. Price have a zone. Let's say you wake up here and you say, yo, I'm gonna trade. But you realize, say, yo, high, low, the zone. What? Tapping in the middle of the zone. Come down. Come back into the middle of the zone again. And then, worst of all, you fail to take this low. So what? More narrative is telling you that you don't even have to see this big boy up here. So more narrative is telling you that, yo, this high is going to get cooked. Which it did. Right? It did. Now, guess what? It tied back into swing count. You have the swing count. Like 1, 2. You can call this your third. And then you can call this your fourth swing. Alright? And then what happens when you have the low get run? Same thing I tell you. You have the range. Right? Let me look for it again. It's all over the map, buddy. It's all over the map. Let me see if we can find one. Price look chippy choppy right so. Alright. Even this wick right here. So cause this is a wick, right? On the higher time frame, this is a wick, but on the 1 minute, this is a zone too. Low, high, and it run the low. Look, on the 15 minute. If I go on the 15 minute, oh shit, I lost it. I don't know where it. I don't know where it is. I lost it, Jano. Anyway, let's go back on the 1 minute. Let me show you. I lost that too. Go back. See it here. So this is the week, right? This is the week right here, so. Let me show you. You come across, right? Price come up here. Bang it. Right? And it trade down, right? So you can say, let's say you're trading highs and lows. Let's say you have this low and this high, right? This could have been a zone too, but let's just, your eyes the wick, right? So price come up and bang it, boom. And then you see, say, boy, price put in a low based on the trend you see, right? The zone you can even say the zone are from out there, so or wherever, right? And then no price trade up, fail for put in a high. So now you say, boy, this low getting cooked, right? This low will get running. So what am I gonna do? I'm gonna just hold it down. See? So yeah, price failed to put in a new high, but price also again failed to put in a new low, right? You look across the way and realize, say, boy, this zone getting peppered multiple times, right? So what happened? It get run because it getting mitigated multiple times. You can even see, say, it get some machine gun stabbing up here, so right. So you say, all right, well, this low getting this. You can see this clearly. I say, boy, this high will get take away, right? Let's look at it on the opposite side of the ring, right? Let's look at it on the opposite side of the ring. You have this zone here. This little boy also, right? Price, stab it, bam. Low, high, low. Price, stab it, bam, never do nothing. Price, stab it, bam, never do nothing. Price go all the way up, and people say, yo, price will come, price, this, that, and the third, XYZ. Let me just draw a line or so, right? And if you're smart, you would say, boy, go and watch it. Well, there's not enough replay for sure what happened. Let me go up on the 15-minute. Right? You go, so boom. That take too long. But anyway, this zone getting peppered. Let me go on a higher time frame. I see, hopefully it will do something. So you see this zone getting peppered, right? What you see here? This low, high, failure to put in a new low, but it failed to put in a new high, right? Then you can see, say, boy, since this is the low that put in the high, and this is not the low, this is still the master low. So you look here, it failed to put in a new low, and then it failed to put in a new high again. And then now when you zoom out, you realize, say, yo, you in the abyss, and you done long ago past all the swings, and then you are also in a range. So now that little piece of narrative now that already told you that, yo, price is finna come down. There's a potential chance that price can come down because of the zone getting battered and bruised. You zoom out and it open up other things that's telling you, well, I think it's time to stop longing now and just short, right? And then you run it. Zone dead. Zone dead. No, yes, this is happening on a larger time frame, right? This is happening on a larger time frame. But even if you was like, all right, it's a larger time frame, man a bad man, I'm gonna just put $1 or whatever $1. Let me just put $1. Let me put sell on the dollar. And then you wake up, this is what? It take, let me see, where is this? No, where's the money? Where's the time tool? It take you from here to here. 8 days, 1 week. Friday, you get a fat paycheck. A fat paycheck. How much points this? Let me see. Where's the bloody? You get a fat paycheck. Watch it, man. let's say your stop loss, I don't know, because you're gambling, right? So you get a fat pay. Watch it. Bumbleclad. You would jealous, right? So if you notice, I put different pieces of narrative together. And watch it. So I know that, let's say when I go back on the lower time frame, what date is this? February. All right, good. Let's say I go back on the lower time frame because I see this happen. Right? No, don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. There is a narrative that say during the range, the first break is a fake one. Right here. This is some secret sauce I'm telling you. The first break is a fake one, right? So a lot of people would see this, and because they yes, we predicted the break. Some people going to hold it and think, say, boy, or them will wait because them following structure. They'll wait until it come here and then they will take it down. Based on the narrative here, price doesn't do that. Price fake them out and then rip them up here and then come down. Let me show you. It might not happen. It might happen. But let me just run it and see. I hope I have enough time on it. Right? And you see how you have the range in again? So if you come down here and you know narrative, you'll be like, all right, well, I'm going to enter into a range now. So let me just set my border here. And I know, all right, when I come up here, I'm going to go long. I come up here, I'm going to go short. And look. Remember when I tell you, well, I don't know if I tell you, but I always say what happened on the lower time frame happened on the higher time frame, or what happened on the higher time frame happened on the lower time frame. Look what happening on the higher time frame here. We have a range, right? Look what happened on the lower time frame. You have a range, right? Look what happened on the higher time frame. You have a range that stabbed through this zone. Remember, we saw this zone on the 1 minute, right? I know my shit, We saw this zone on the 1 minute and we say, yo, this zone getting peppered. That's when we decided to zoom out and see what was going on, to see if there's more narrative that support this, right? But if you look here, guess what? No, the same thing I go on here, Bridging. The same zone, and the zone could be this little weak here or wherever here, but something was getting peppered here, and then it broke. And then guess what happened when it broke? A lot of people, oh yeah, market structure shift, and then it broke. We have to follow structure. We're going to take this zone and we're going to short, and guess what? Boom, them dead. Because them don't understand the narrative. And then guess what? Same thing that happened on the lower time frame, happened on the higher time frame. So usually what will happen is that when you run the low, because you're in a range, price will run the high as well. Right? And then come down for everybody. It's like a fake out type deal with them, So watch it. Guess where it'll go? It'll go to satisfy the higher time frame. Watch it. Right? And guess what? Also? Multiple mitigations inside of the zone. Virgin, don't ramp with me, dog. Don't ramp with me. Yo, I'm kind of crunk today. But, you dig? You have to know this thing, You have to know this thing. Same thing I tell you about what I go up on the higher time frame, I go up on the lower time frame. And then now you realize you at the top, all these swings. So eventually later on, because I just run this, right? If I get something, I'm not just going to, I need to wait until something tells me that price is going to come down here, right? Let me see. What time it is? It's April 26th. So I could play it out and see. If we can see a narrative that's telling us. We already see one narrative where the range starting to form here, right? Rain start form right there, so. Boom! Right? No, it never really tell us that it run the low right there, so. Seeing? So this is like, this right here can be attributed. I think you can call this an equal high, because if you see where the high break the low, it's not that far off, because if you go on a higher time frame, what is this? This is like a week or something, right? So let me see if I have enough time frame for kind of run through this. Let me just do it candle by candle, right? So look, if it fails, so this low, you can say this low, put in this high, right? We're not worried about this because this is some lower time frame low, right? But if this low fails to go above here, then it's safe to say that London Bridge going to come crashing down. Let's see. Shit, we run out of time stamp. But that's it for this video. Hold on, let me see if we can go on a lower time frame and look at the narrative that's going on. So we're on the lower time frame now, right? What we're looking at, swing count. That's our compass, right? The swing count. 1, 2. Do I have enough time frame for kind of see what I go on? This is too far out on the 1 minute. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you understand the concept of the narrative. If you notice, I wasn't really doing anything mechanical. I wasn't blindly following structure. I was not blindly following structure. I was still counting my swings. You still have to count your swings, but I wasn't just blindly following structure. I was looking for a narrative, and then we saw multiple opportunities just by looking at the zones, what's happening to this, because there's zones everywhere on the map. This is a zone, right? This is a zone above the zone, and all kind of foolishness, right? So put this in your tool belt and make use of it. All right, I'm out. Peace.